Welcome to Golf Training Hacks. Do you have trouble with consistent contact? Well, if you do, one thing that can help is improving your ability to create and maintain lag through impact. Now, why is lag so important? Well, it really is physics. When the force is leading the mass, it's easier to control the mass. When the force is behind the mass, it's harder to control the mass. So if your force is the hands, when your hands are behind the club face, it's harder to control. When your hands are ahead of the club face, it's easier to control. And that's essentially what lag is doing. A great way to think about this is a child's wagon. If we have a child's wagon and this club is the handle, you have the wagon, you have a pivot point, and you have the handle. If you're pushing the wagon, it's kind of hard to control it. But if you're pulling it, it's a lot easier to control. So that's the golf swing. When you flip at the ball and your hands are behind the club face, it's harder to control the club face. When your hands are ahead, it's easier. So when your hands are behind, you're flipping, you're pushing the wagon. When your hands are ahead and you have lag through impact, you're pulling the wagon. So that's why lag can be so important to help you control the position of the club head. So all you need to do is keep your hands in front of the ball, right? Well, of course not. It's not that easy. It's not that simple. So many golfers struggle with this. They spend years trying to get this right, drill after drill, lesson after lesson, they still can't do it. So why is it so hard? Well, there are a lot of reasons, but here's one of the reasons. Let's go back to the wagon idea, the wagon example. So if you have the wagon and you're pushing it, if you're walking, you might be able to control it. It's not so tough. As soon as you start running and adding speed, then it becomes harder. The more speed, the harder it is. You might have to grab with two hands, use a lot of muscular effort and control to keep that wagon in front of you. That's if you can do it. Well, that's the golf swing. Now, in order to create and maintain lag, your hips need to lead the way in the golf swing. Your hips need to be rotating before your backswing is completed. That's going to help you begin to set up lag. So if your hips begin to rotate before the backswing is completed, you're going to get this feeling of your hands floating behind you, right? That's so important. So your hips need to lead the way. They need to start before the backswing is finished. That's going to stick that front arm against your chest, and your hip rotation and your body rotation is going to catapult your arms through the swing, and you're going to be better able to keep lag into impact and then through release. Now, one thing about holding that wagon in front of you and running with two hands, it's going to slow you down. Well, the same thing holds true for the golf swing. So when you flip and cast at the ball, right? So when we're flipping, we have a mass ahead of the force, right? That's what we're trying not to do. That happens when your hips get stuck, right? If you can't rotate through and your hips stall out at impact, well, you have to get the club head back to impact somehow, so you're going to begin to cast back here and flip at the ball. What does that mean? That means you're pushing the club head into impact. You're using rear side muscular effort, and you're pushing this club head into impact instead of pulling it through impact. That means you're using rear side muscular effort, and just like when you're holding with two hands that wagon and trying to run, it's slowing you down. The more muscular effort you put into this swing, the slower the swing is going to become. So even though you're trying harder, the swing is going to become slower. The hips lead the way in the golf swing. You have to have strong and mobile hips to help you create and maintain lag through impact. So here's a diagnostic test to see if you can actually do this. Now, this is not a drill, it's just a test. So take your swing and really slow it down. Go, as slow as you can possibly do it while focusing on getting your hips rotating forward while creating and maintaining that lag through impact. If you can't do that, if you can't do it slow, well, you're not going to be able to do it fast. So you're going to have to work on hip mobility and hip strength. That's clear. Now, if that's easy for you to do, then gradually speed up the swing while focusing on getting those hips rotating first and creating some lag, and really focus on it. If you can do it at speed, well, well, then it's a motor learning problem. You just need to, ingrain that motor pattern. Your hips are probably fully functional and can do it. But as you increase speed, if it's becoming more difficult and the swing breaks down, well then, once again, you need to work on hip mobility and hip strength. Hips lead the way in the golf swing. If you're having trouble with contact consistency, creating and maintaining lag through impact becomes really important. And to do that, you need strong and mobile hips. They got to rotate through the swing. At Golf Training Hacks, we not only want you to play better golf, but we want you to move better and feel better every day, so you can play the best golf of your life for the rest of your life.